There's no doubt that Sam thinks he's better than other people. It's not even a query in his mind.
I make myself cringe sometimes by the things I say.
Sorry, I'm late, mate.
He just embarrasses us and confuses us along the way.
It's nothing, mate. Have a look at that. Yeah.
It is like a soap opera. It is like Melrose Place.
Hello, I'm Caroline Jones. It would be an understatement to say that the subject of tonight's program generates strong passions. Sam Newman has just signed a contract for $5 million, making him one of the highest paid performers on television. As a former AFL star and co-host of The Footy Show, Sam Newman, who's now 54, has always been a household name in Melbourne. But in recent years, his behaviour on air has created national controversy. And then there's the never-ending soap opera of his personal life. This is Sam Newman's story.
Been down on my luck with those.
Down your luck. May not recover. Cheer squad? Cheer squad?
Cheer squad. They probably think I'm sexist, a racist, abrasive, rude, arrogant, in their face.
He's the sort of bloke that other blokes don't look up to, you know. Is personally, you know, he's not a sensitive new age guy.
Yes, come in. Would you like to give us a hand? We're getting changed. We're having trouble with the belt buckle. Can you undo it for us?
It doesn't worry me what people think. I know what I am, maybe a bit arrogant, but nothing wrong with being a bit arrogant, because that means that you think you're a bit superior to most of the people you deal with in your industry, because most of them are absolute dickheads.
Sam Newman is a classic example of someone whose life has been shaped by his education. He makes no secret of the fact that his time at Geelong Grammar is very important to him. I think it's shaped his view on the rest of all of us. I think it's given him an inbuilt confidence from very early on in his life that he was better than other people. There's no doubt that Sam thinks he's better than other people. It's not even a query in his mind. He's physically stronger and always was, and when he played football for all those years, he never flinched. And I think sometimes that's where people consider him to be arrogant or cocky or harsh or hard. I don't think it's that at all. I just think it's an inborn, natural feeling that he's superior.
Well, fortunately, I was the coach at the Geelong Football Club and looking for talent, and it wouldn't have mattered where the talent was supposed to be. I would go and look at it, and he was one on the doorstep out of Geelong Grammar. I went out to see a game in the APS one afternoon, and this magnificent specimen of a young fellow kicked 16 goals from centre-half forward, and that was sufficient probably to send me into a frenzy.
Are you a little bit disappointed in missing out on the two star recruits of the year, Brummel and Woods?
Well, we tried very hard to get them, Lou, but I feel that we've got one boy here in particular won't worry about Woods or Brummel at all.
What's his name?
A boy called Newman, John Newman.
It's down onto the ground. Eels pushed in the back. No free kick. It's shorted here, and Newman puts it through.
As a footballer, he was a champion. I mean, when it comes to AFL or VFL football, as it then was, no one was much bigger than him. I mean, he played over 300 games. Now, to do that is an achievement in itself.
And I tell you what, Johnny Newman then, keep out of it, John.
He was the first person to be a flamboyant marketer. I mean, he was the first person to wear white football boots. And by marketing yourself on the field, you would then get success off the field with other areas.
Now it's still on down there, as once again Newman comes in to talk to the umpire Ian Robinson. He's got his arm around his waist as if he was asking for a dance.
He was prone to do impersonations of anybody, and he was very interested in shows that were on the television. In fact, that's where he got his nickname from, Sam, from the Jackie Gleason show.
We've got a larger than usual panel this week for obvious reasons, but just let me move over here and introduce them to you.
I recommended to Channel 7, where I was working on the world of sport, that this young fellow had definite potential.
Sam Newman, Bob Davis, who once again has neglected makeup.
Now he's thrust upon hundreds of thousands of people almost every Thursday night.
But his skills of the game are unsurpassed. It is by far the most skillful ball game in the world, and that's second to none.
He was an excellent student and a marvellous athlete as well. Now, for someone like that to be embroiled in all the situations that's happened to him especially over the last 3 or 4 years, is absolutely unbelievable. And I think a lot of the time that the Geelong Ram people must often cringe a bit about, what he's done.
A stab at it. How are you, madam?
Good, thank you.
This woman now, she didn't mind if I put my shoes under her bed. Would you mind? Hey?
I don't mind, mate. She's
Give her a fair seeing too. Would that be okay?
Yeah.
You think she could handle me?
Come back to my place and borrow the bed.
Got a spare bedroom? Yeah. Have you? What do you think about that? Would you like to really be on street talk? I'll make it talk if we get back to his joint.
He hates wasting time with people who say stupid things. And one of the great ironies is that him doing 10 minutes with ordinary people who he really doesn't have a lot of time for has led to him having a huge career in television.
Absolutely, sir. Very, very profound to finish on. If I see him on TV, I've got to see you, mate.
There you go.
What would be wrong with that?
You wouldn't really want to know what I think about Sam Newman.
The Olympic flame arriving in Ayers Rock.
Oh, I'm going to boo him. But I love Eddie.
A fair degree of overkill, would be fair to say.
True larrikin. He makes you laugh.
Hello, Netta. Hello, Cheryl. Hello again, Ed. I don't prepare at all because it loses its spontaneity and loses being on the edge, and I would never know what I'm going to say, never plan to say anything.
Not going grey, eh?
Only the last 8 weeks, I think, Sam.
I make myself cringe sometimes by things I say, but that's the part of doing it live. And even out on the streets speaking to people, we only try and wind them up and provoke them to get a response.
We mostly do watch the footy show, at least I do. Sometimes when he's been in the paper a lot before that, I think, no, I'm not watching the footy show tonight. But if your brother's on, you think, well, let's watch him.
Sam Newman's had a nose job, and it looks pretty. And that's why I look the way I do. And what is your excuse?
I think you could say we've been privileged to be part of his family, or he'd be part of all of us, but he just embarrasses us and confuses us along the way.
Something for modesty here, but not much.
Oh, yeah, because you are looking modest.
At the back, it's the world's my gynecologist. Look at that.
Oh, Jesus, that's nothing, mate. Have a look at that. Yeah.
He's done that many ridiculous things, and I'm past the point of being shocked or surprised. And I mean, I can understand his mum and dad being surprised, but I'll have a go at him. I'll say, what the hell are you doing now? But in the end, that's what people love about him. That's why he's making his money. That's why he's so successful.
And you're a star, and we only look up to you, and we revere you. And I know you think I'm pissed, but I'm not.
And I think it's also orchestrated by Channel 9. I think they were quite happy that he was legless at the Logies because that gives them huge publicity. They want him to be off the rails.
Firstly, thank you for getting that out.
although at times I might cringe when he says things that I am not altogether happy with on the television. I think that he's inclined to be a little crude at times, or a little double entendre, the things that he says. Well, they're not even that. I mean, I think they were almost crude. Well, yeah, they're crude. That's it.
Some of our friends are horrified. Some absolutely can't stand him.
And some
others
like him
think
very
like
much.
him, and others who've known him for many years like him very much, because they've seen another side to him, not just this public life on television.
Yep, I could understand that, absolutely, because none of the things I do they would agree with or even contemplate doing themselves. They're very conservative people, very introverted, very shy, and I think that they'd have a lot of conflict with the people they associate with and the fact that I am their brother. Could understand that absolutely.
You have to realise that Sam comes from a very genteel family. His mother and father were the most magnificent, delightful couple that you could ever wish to see. His dad would be almost the complete opposite to Sam. He was a teacher at the grammar, most highly regarded. He did things strictly by the book. He has two sisters. They are very genteel ladies. They're delightful people. And their friends, I suppose, must say, I can't believe that John Newman is their brother. I mean, I don't say that unkindly, but that, you know, at times they must look at the two girls and then look at Sam and say, like, there must have been a mix-up at the hospital.
Have you seen any of this?
No, I haven't at all. No, I haven't seen this, but it's different to the last exhibition.
I'm a bit introverted and I don't like to go out a lot. Bit of a loner. Don't have many close friends. Don't seek them.
Kind of dull, wasn't it?
Dull, yeah. Well, is there such a thing as colourful Aboriginal art? I'm fairly selective with who are my friends. A lot of sycophants in the business. I don't mind that, yeah. What is it, do you think?
It's as close a friendship as you could possibly get, I think. We have a lot of fun together. We probably eat out 2 or 3 times a week. We go on a lot of holidays together with my wife and a girlfriend of Sam's at the time. The fairer sex have obviously played a very important part in Sam's life. But I'd have to say it's more women pursuing him. I go away with Sam playing golf, and it's always amazed me just the number of kind of notes that are left at the desk for him, or phone calls that come to the room. And I've certainly learned the hard way not to share a room with Sam.
Just keep it going.
A womaniser. I've been married 3 times and I've had 3 or 4 long-term relationships, but if I did 1/10 of what I'm accused of doing, I'd be dead. I just physically wouldn't be able to walk.
3, 2, 1.
So I don't know what people think I do. They think I stand on street corners with my fly undone trying to flag young women down in cars and whip off with them. I suppose that's what people think I do, but that's not right. But I'm not about to apologise for what people think about me, and I don't care what they think, really. In fact, I don't care what they think at all. I've been broke, I've been divorced, I've been injured, I've been wounded emotionally, I suppose. So there's just run the whole gamut of what society and life is about generally.
Michael Hamill is believed to be the man who thumped Sam Newman after ramming a van through the former footballer's front gate.
Police say the former AFL footballer was punched in the face when he confronted the man in the street.
He was later treated at Epworth Hospital for a suspected broken nose.
It's understood the dispute between the 44-year-old plumber and Newman revolves around 27-year-old Melissa Skirton, a woman known to both men.
I heard this thumping and then the doorbell rang and I went to answer it and the person I was with said I wouldn't answer it and I said, why wouldn't I answer it? It's my house and the door's ringing. So I opened the door and he gave me a bit of a seeing to.
Hello.
Add supplies.
Okay, if you could just open the gate.
Yep. Changed my face a bit. Had to have my nose fixed. I have had my nose fixed. I've had a bit of plastic surgery on my nose. Yeah, plastic surgery on my nose only. But that's another story.
What I got sick of everyone asking us, had he had cosmetic surgery or his eyes done?
A facelift.
I can't tell you about his eyes. He just said, no, I have not had my eyes done. And as a little chap, he always had brown almond eyes. But he said he had had something done to his forehead, which smoothed out the line.
Jane said, well, you were much better looking before you did all this. Now, why can't you grow old gracefully?
That's what people love to see. They tune in every week to see what ridiculous thing he's done. And even his personal life, people will relate that to the footy show and see if he talks about it, because they always talk about something that's happened in his private life on the footy show.
At least Mr. Howard sent me a telegram saying you're once, twice, 3 times a lady. As you've said to each of your wives, not to worry, chin up, cheeks up, eyes up, in fact, the whole face up. Oh, I see you've already had it done.
I think in the last couple of years especially, it's almost gotten out of hand. It just gets... It is like a soap opera. It is like Melrose Place.
The accident occurred near the garage doors at the back of Sam Newman's new home in Brighton just after 11 o'clock last night as he and his partner were returning from a dinner party. It's understood Newman was helping his longtime girlfriend Leonie Jones get her car into his garage when it accidentally rolled forward and crushed his leg.
I had sort of an argument with her and we were driving home to my house and I said, well, I think I'll get out and you can go home to your house. And so as I got out, she drove off and, of course, not making sure that I was clear of the car when she drove off. And so she ran me over, yeah.
Miss Jones, fined $250 last Thursday over that car accident, confirms it all started in a dispute with Newman and ended when she ran him over. I didn't think I actually hurt him, like breaking his leg. I heard him yelp, she says.
He did sustain quite serious injuries in that car accident. And in fact, I think his doctors felt that he would be left with a permanent limp. And he was very, very determined to overcome that. He threw those crutches away so quickly. I really just couldn't believe how quickly he recovered physically.
6, 7, and change again. 8.
But I think emotionally, he was very fragile for a long time. Probably far more fragile than any of us thought.
And up, slow it down.
Well, I think that was a terribly destructive relationship. It was just full of bad incidents. And Sam pursued that relationship, and I could never really see why he did.
8, 7.
I think he just got on with his life again. He'd been through a lot of rehabilitation and finally got his leg back under control again, and away he went, and just not much change in his life, except, of course, that he had a little son to the same person.
If you take on the responsibility of bringing people into the world, the onus should be on you to nurture them and make sure that they're here for a good reason and that you give them every opportunity to succeed.
Watch this here. Here we go.
The image of Sam being a womaniser is entirely false. Now, if I had a key to Sam's house and I had decided to stay there one evening and opened up the door, I would get the shock of my life if Sam was in there with a young lady that I don't know. In fact, I would be very surprised if there are many young ladies ever darken the portals of his Brighton mansion. In fact, I think he is perhaps almost lonely.
If he did have any regrets about the women he let go, he would never tell you. He's very passionate early in most of his relationships. As the relationship progresses, when there are problems, he finds it easier to move on. He'd never try to fix something that he considered to be broken. He would just move forward and put it behind him.
Coming up on the inside, there's a touch between them. Oh, Newman's gone off. Speak of the devil.
His life has been a roller coaster ride, but I think that he needs change, he needs excitement.
Now he's driving the cars even. I mean, I think that must be a death wish. I really am concerned for him driving cars. I don't think that's a necessary part of his life.
It's going to be a wonderful day at the SCG on Sunday. A great day for football. Now it's time for Sam's mailbag.
He's daring things, isn't he? He's daring to be on the edge. And that's probably what he's doing with his television career. Wanting to live dangerously on the edge.
A tastelessly dressed imposter with a drunken smile called Richard Ackland made some comments about me on his little TV show on the ABC during his allotted time.
But it was Newman who stole the show.
Sorry. I thought I could hear Nicky Winmar's voice out there. I just ran past the window.
The sparkling japes with racist tones culminated in this tragic moment.
Sorry I'm late, mate. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Well, this is as close as we could get. He's not here.
What's disturbing about all this is that Newman is regarded as a star in the Packer TV firmament.
That you cannot reason, have no wit, no humour or no eloquence is apparent from your writing and the crap that you speak with it.
I reckon in the history of media in the world, that was the biggest beat-up, a brow-beating, forelock-pulling, dick-pulling exercise in trying to show that this is not acceptable. They didn't even know what they were arguing about, or didn't even know what they were complaining about. Just thought, oh, bloke's painted his face black, that must be racist. How would that be racist?
That'd be the door, Sam.
Door, you little beauty.
G'day, Sam. How you going?
Nicky Winmar doesn't know me very well, and I don't know him very well, but I hope and I know he would know me well enough to think that I would not be doing that because he's an Aboriginal.
Hey, fellas. Sorry I'm late, Eddie.
I wanted to satirically represent myself as him. And if you're black, that's not a bad way to do it.
The media completely misunderstood that. And I know that Sam, and I agree with him, one of the things he hates about the Australian personality is ripping down tall poppies. And he is as tall as you can get in Melbourne. And I think they saw an opportunity and thought, you beauty, let's go and get him.
What in the water? That's God.
It's interesting having him as a dad. I mean, everyone always asks, well, what's it like and everything, but it's not really anything like what he is on television. He's still funny. He's not as outspoken and rude, if you will. He's quite a good bloke, actually.
Yeah. That is called the putting green. That is what we should be aiming for.
Sometimes he's not easy to get along with. There's just certain parts of him that are hard to get to. He's hard to, because there's so many people that want a piece of Sam Newman or whatever it is, or he's maybe put a shell up, or I don't know, but he is tough to get to know.
All people are different. You can't just put it all on his image and all that. It's just the way he is.
Well, I'd rather be that way than the other. might keep my two boys guessing as to what they think they can get away with and what they can't. Never wear your heart on your sleeve for too many people.
He cares for them so much. He really cares about his boys, but he's just doesn't show it. He's not the, he's not the type. I mean, I still kiss my son every time I see him, but Sam's not like that.
Very nice, Jack. Very good.
There's definite bonuses to having a famous father.
Not bad.
But yeah, I would do anything to give up my dad being famous, to have a dad who's been with my mum, been in the family for all of my growing up. You've gone out and kicked the footy with, watched telly with, and just done the things that I've seen my friends and their dads do over the years. I'd give that up with, to make that swap in a second.
You know, all the kids come up and you hear, but now these days you hear them say, "Oh, your dad's so funny, I love your dad," and everything, and you sense of pride when you hear that, because, you know, you got to feel proud. I love you, Dad.
You like that Aboriginal stuff. You're not going to like this stuff that I've just bought.
I think there's things I ought to have said to Sam over the years that I haven't said, like how he reacts to his boys and things like that. He should be softer with them, and time he spends with them. People sometimes don't tell Sam what you should say to him.
Oh, hello there.
Hello, Annette. How are you? For me, the things that I love about Sam are, number one, the bond he has with me. He is so generous that people would never know. We've laughed for the last 35 years about the same things. He's very, very good company. He's very good company if you're one of a select few.
And I always say to Kevin, in a different world, if Kevin wasn't married and I wasn't going out with someone, that we'd retire in a home down by the sea one day and sit on the porch and do a bit of whittling. Maybe sometimes we'd just sit. And we'd be grumpy old men, we'd be. We'd sit there like the old spider's home and remember the days we could and remember the times we never did.
I don't agree. I think he should be seeing women in his old age, or in that same age bracket.
I have to disagree with you. I think, why should he be with someone in his own age bracket? Why would you? If you were that age, you saw a 50-year-old girl and 20-year-old girl, you're going to go for the 20-year-old girl,
Yeah,
don't you?
you've got nothing in common with the 20-year-old girl.
Who cares?
It's probably still at uni.
It doesn't matter. You could talk about uni.
Apartheid behind it, South Africa is now being